I think so. Oh, yeah.
The finals.
I'm rooting for 3-1.
Yeah?
No, don't you want to be the only team that has done that?
No. Well, yeah, I'm rooting for Toronto.
Okay. Toronto. I thought the opposite. That you were rooting for another down 3-1 comeback.
As did I.
I'm rooting for 3-1 to stay intact.
Okay. Same.
Yeah. Well, when you said, aren't you rooting to be the only one, I thought you meant about beating the Warriors, because that's some people are saying, no,
yeah,
wants to beat the Warriors. And I say, no. 3-1 is worth way more to me than that.
That's right. What's up, Master Cylinder on Twitter? Welcome to the show. Let's get it out there. You guys good to go?
Let's do it.
As always, let's go, Dave.
Yeah, you got the show out there. Nice work. Well done.
How about that? I know how to work the Twitter machine.
You're amazing.
I am.
Let's kick it off. The Big Play Cleveland Reflog Show is brought to you by ShackNews.com. Shack News is your go-to for gaming news. Covers all your gaming content needs. They have game guides, gaming interviews, a bunch of awesome original video content. Head over to Shack News and get into the conversation by clicking on the Shack News Twitter profile in our show title. Hit that follow button, because when it comes to gaming news, there's only one site to visit, shacknews.com. We got a great show. We got James Rapien coming in. We got Nick Pedone coming in. It's the Big Play Cleveland Reflog Show. To the Big Play Cleveland Reflog Show. Today is Monday, June 10th, 2019. I'm your host, Big Play Dave, alongside my main man, Mr. Chris McNeil. Hello, sir.
How are you doing, Dave?
I'm fantastic. And Breezy Clee, how are you?
What's up? What's going
on? You guys want to feel old for a second?
I always do. Go for it.
Bree, I'm really just talking to me and Chris here. ShackNews.com, looking at they have a gaming tournament going on tomorrow. $10,000 prize pool. This is the over 30 tournament.
Okay.
Is that like the senior circuit for them?
It's the senior circuit. Hold on. Let me pull this up here real quick. So, ShackNews.com. Here it is.
It's just depressing. Are you really going to kick off the show?
Oh yeah, it says the ancient over 30 tournament at Shack News. $10,000
30
prize.
is the new 60, apparently.
Oh, man, that's sad. Shout out to AC for putting that on. Good stuff. How we doing, guys?
Did you see the news from Shack News, though? They broke some news this week in regards to Madden. For anybody who plays Madden, They had the rankings for the Cleveland Browns. Dave, any guesses as to where the Cleveland Browns, what their overall team ranking is going to be for the new Madden game?
I retweeted it. 87.
87. When's the last time we sniffed the high 80s as the Cleveland Browns?
Seems a little low.
Tecmo Bowl? Maybe Tecmo Bowl days?
Oh, I don't know if we ever had it that high.
Yeah, right? I think there are only like 2 or 3 teams above us right now. I know the Patriots were in the low 90s, and there may have been 1 or 2 that kind of slid in there. But yeah, and there are a lot of people like you, Dave, saying that we're still too low. I love that. Love the optimism.
Yeah, we'll take it. Hey, Madden, they can always adjust the ratings over time, so we might have to talk to them. I think 90. We got a great show for you guys tonight. Enough video games. Tonight on the show, we've got Power Rank Monday. Power Rank Monday. We will then get into, I guess I'll tell you what it is. Top 3 things that come to mind when you think of Cleveland. That's changed a little bit over the years.
Exciting.
Right. We'll get into our featured guest interview of the night, James Rapien from 92.3 The Fan, on the beat for the Cleveland Indians. His job's gotten a little bit easier over the last couple of weeks here with the Tribe rolling. Cleveland headlines, we will bring in our own Browns reporter, Nick Pedone, to break down his interview with Denzel Ward over the weekend, and he's also heading to hang out with Jarvis Landry at that celebrity softball charity event. So be fun to chat with him. We'll hit you with a couple Would You Rathers. We'll hit you with our bold predictions, and then we will get you out of here for the night. Let's start off with Power Rank Monday.
It's time for Power Rank Monday.
Oh, yeah. Johnny Torres says, constructive criticism for the crew. We need a little bit more energy from the hosts. All right.
Oh, wow.
We'll bring it. Probably like right when we do the live stream, we're like, oh, hey, guys. Yeah, we'll cut that out for you.
On Facebook. We're trying to get up.
Thank you, Mr. Torres. That's right. That's right. Top 3 things that come to mind when you think of Cleveland, Ohio. We
got one from Twitter already.
Oh, Mark, did we? What do we got? What do you got?
At Market Doc says his 3 things. Number 1, Baker. Number 2, Reagan. Number 3, Mayfield. Right there. The top things he thinks of when he thinks of Cleveland.
Nice.
Still mine.
Yeah, right. Shout out to Ryan Trammell. Baby Baker says hello and is a new fan of the show. Make sure Baby Baker hits that retweet button.
Keep procreating out there so we get more fans of the show.
That's right. That's right. That's the only way we're going to grow. So this month marks the 50th anniversary of the Cuyahoga River catching on fire. Did not know that before the show. Yeah, go ahead.
Also, it's nickel beer, or excuse me, dime beer night, 10-cent beer night. That was in June as well. I believe it was June 4th.
Wow, interesting.
It wasn't a 50th anniversary, but it was this month.
A lot of anniversaries coming. So we're power ranking our top 3 things that come to mind when we think of Cleveland. I will kick it off here with my number 3. Got to go T-shirt companies. When you think of Cleveland, Ohio, we literally will put a T-shirt on everything. We had an earthquake here today, I guess. Didn't feel it, but I saw 3 or 4 different earthquake T-shirts come out.
No,
like it's gotten to that
it's
point.
Our number 1 export. T-shirts.
That's right. That's right. My number 2, East 4th Street. Not quite as popular as it was because there's other stuff to do in Cleveland, but at one time it was the only thing you could go to the bars downtown. East 4th Street. Go check it out if you've never been. Fantastic place. And my number 1. You got to go with the Browns.
How could you not?
Got to go with the Browns. They've always been the number 1. 0-16, they were number 1. 1-15, they were number 1. It's been a long ride. It's nice to say they're actually number 1 now.
All right, do I get to go?
Chris, go for it.
Okay, here are my 3. Let me kind of preface my list by saying that all of my impressions of Cleveland, the way I think about this, were when they were formed when I was a kid. So think of it in those terms. That's the way I think about this, and we're viewing it through that lens. So at number 3.
As you're wearing a Nickelodeon shirt.
You like that? Kind of a theme today, Dave.
That's right.
The Coliseum in Richfield. Yeah, the first thing I think about when I think about Cleveland is Richfield, because I was actually living in Bath back at the time. And so for me, some of the taste of Cleveland that I would get out my way was watching the professional squad, which was our Cleveland Cavaliers, who at that time played at that Cow Palace, which is the Richfield Coliseum. So I watched Brad Daugherty and Larry Nance and Craig Elo and Mark Price and all those folks, Gerald Wilkins, Hot Rod Williams, all out there. So got to go just up the road to watch them there as opposed to going all the way into Cleveland, which as a kid, I always assumed Cleveland just had horrible, horrible traffic, like crippling traffic. Because every time we were in town, of course, it was a sporting event, and usually the Browns. So I was not liking that, and it was always nice just to go up the road to the Richfield Coliseum. Number 2.
Wait for it.
The Gateway Project. Before it was the Jake, before you had the gun, that was all part of the Gateway Project. You guys remember that when it was marketed that way?
I do. No. Yeah, I do remember that.
And that was huge. That was huge. And they did this little sponsorship with Taco Bell, of all places, where for a summer, you could go in and get this big purple mug that said Gateway Project on the back of it. And you get it for like $1.99 at the beginning of the summer. For the rest of the summer, you could refill it for like 25 cents. And on the back of it, it said the Gateway Project. Everybody, civic pride was just bubbling over at that time. And I remember that summer being able to go up to Taco Bell, get myself like a soft taco, and go refill that all summer long. So that's
nice.
A big piece of my childhood is the Gateway Project that started it all there.
Very interesting.
And then number one, everybody should still have at least one of these hanging around. I know I've got multiple ones. The Sherwin-Williams painter caps. Remember these when they gave them away at Old Municipal? The old Browns?
No.
I don't remember that at all.
Oh, my God. How do you not remember these things? The giveaways were the best part of the Browns. Not only were good on the field, but then they were magical giveaways that they would always have for all these games. You had like the poster board Browns cutout faces from either the Buzzard, from 3WE, or one of the local radio stations would always sponsor one of these. You had like the McDonald's scarves. Those were fun. I still got all of these around. We're going to have to do some show and tell next time. The dog towels. Remember the towels that they gave away?
I remember those.
My parents would bring them home after games, and those are my first impressions of Cleveland, and those have always stuck with me, Dave.
Wow. Interesting.
Rabbit hole there. Huh?
Bree, how many references did you get there?
0.
Perfect.
Wow, you don't have any of that crap? Oh, I got all that crap somewhere. All those giveaway stuff.
I don't know. I got a couple from my parents, but I don't know if they're Sherwin-Williams. I have a Schwabel's Bakery fanny pack, which I actually quite love.
Wow, I don't know what to say to that one. A Schwabel's fanny pack.
It's a Cleveland Browns.
That was back in the dog pound days?
Yes.
Packs? Oh, man. I blacked out in that one.
I'm with you there. Bree, what do you got for us?
All right, so number 3.
Wait for it.
Ding.
I'm pretty Twitter thematic for my Cleveland.
Oh my God! What did you do here?
Number 3 at Reflog _
Oh
18.
God!
Hey, there we go.
Inflate his
so Chris
ego.
Won't say it, but I will. He is Cleveland's infamous Twitter troll that won't go away. Just kidding. We love you, Chris. It's good to have you on our side. I will say that.
The only Cleveland Twitter troll who lives in Granville, Ohio. I will give you that.
That's right.
Good stuff.
Fun fact, by the way. Number 2. The 3-1 jokes. They don't seem to ever go away. And because we were the only NBA team to come back from down 3-1, we are synonymous with the down 3-1. And any team that goes up 3-1, you better watch out because we will always be referenced.
Now, does this erase the 3-1 jokes from Cleveland if the Raptors lose and blow a 3-1 lead?
Well, we already got our own karma with the Indians being up 3-1, right?
Very true. Very true.
No, I don't want to see it happen. I hope the Raptors prevail, especially with the Warriors being on the other side. I don't want them to come back.
That's fair.
The undead can never be killed. There's no way. You can't do away with the 3-1 jokes. That will always be there, even when you think they're gone.
True. And finally, number 1.
Ding.
LeBron James. Even though he's Akron born and bred.
We took him off the banner.
James, he, in a way, put Cleveland on the map.
I like how in both my list, the top 3, and her list, I had Richfield and she had Akron as Cleveland things.
I know, right?
That's great.
Let's check in with some reaction here. Power Rank Monday. Patrick McGuire says number 3, Greg Pruitt, tearaway jersey.
Wow.
Number 2, Baker. Number 1, Bernie Kosar.
How could I leave Bernie off?
Right. I was surprised by that, Bree. Very surprised. Yeah. Alex Collins, 205. Number 1, Browns. 2, 2016 Cavs. Number 3, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I think we talked about that last week. I never have gone, and I live very close.
Designed by I.M. Pei, as we covered.
You've never been,
time.
Dave?
No, I went for like a work event one time, but didn't really check anything out.
You sound like a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, in and out of those work events.
Wow.
Yeah, that's true. And that was Power Rank Monday. Good stuff. Good stuff, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see if we have our interview coming in here. It was. He did give me a heads up, James Rapien of 92.3 The Fan. It is his fiance's birthday. So I was like, you might want to double check that one. But he said he said he'll be calling in momentarily. So let me make sure I gave him the right number. I did. Excellent. We should have him shortly here. Let's see here. While we're waiting for him. No, he's in here. Never mind. I'm just not good at technology. Let's move on. On the line, we have the one and only James Rapien of 92.3 The Fan, beat reporter for the Indians and the Cavaliers. James, welcome to the show. How we doing, my man?
I'm doing well, guys. How are you?
We're fantastic. I feel like Ken Carmen messing up the show here. Let's get right into it.
We've all been there.
Oh, that's right. That's right. The Indians have taken series from the Red Sox, the Twins, the Yankees, all in the last couple of weeks here. We're still 10.5 games back out of first. Do you think this is something we can come back from?
Yes. Is it likely? No. But is it possible? Yeah, I think it is, especially when you look at everything the Indians have dealt with this year. Obviously, they didn't come into spring training with a ton of momentum in the public and just the fans, the way they looked at their offseason. They were down on them. And since then, they've dealt with injuries. They've dealt with struggles from their stars like Trevor Bauer and Jose Ramirez, which I don't think anyone expected. And yet they're still a game over 500. Now, do they need some things to break their way, like health? Do they need their stars to play like stars? And do they need the Twins to somehow fall in their face with injuries and other things? Yeah, so a lot needs to fall their way. But I'm not burying the Indians yet because it's still pretty early in the baseball season.
Are you surprised by the Twins? Like heading into this season, I think people thought they were going to be good, but they look legitimate. I don't think anyone really saw this coming. Do you think, is there a chance they kind of fall back?
Yeah, I think there is a chance, and I'm certainly surprised by what they are, because I don't think anyone expected them to be one of the best teams in baseball or the best hitting team in baseball. And the other thing, we see these super teams constructed in the NBA all the time, and they usually figure it out within a couple weeks, maybe a month. In baseball, when you put together just a bunch of assets and you try to put things together through free agency, usually you struggle and you have your issues. And they've just had a seamless transition. Their starting pitching's pitching better than I think anyone expected. Their relievers have held their own, even though that's kind of a weak point, is that bullpen for Minnesota. So I'm kind of waiting for them to have injuries, to have their issues. They haven't yet, and that's why they're one of the better teams in baseball and one of the best hitting teams in baseball. So I expect them to fall back. But yeah, they're certainly the favorites to win the Central, and I think they've surprised a lot of people with just how dominant they've been through the first quarter of the season.
So it's kind of tough to know what we're going to do at the trade deadline. Buster only put out a report today. He's expecting the Indians to deal Brad Hand, which, Brad Hand obviously has been phenomenal for us. If this actually happens, does that make us sellers this season?
Yeah, I think so. I think if they trade Brad Hand, that's exactly what that indicates. They're not winning this year without him. Put it that way. He's been their best player. I mean, as good as Lindor's been over the past month or so, Brad Hand's just been automatic out of the bullpen. He's allowed 1 run since April 15th, 3 runs on the season, 19 saves. He's been great. I think he's going to be their one all-star as of now. And, while I think they'll listen to offers for him, this idea that they can trade Hand and they can trade Bauer and then they can still contend next year, I think that's tough. I think that's a really tough thing to ask Chris Antonetti and that Indians front office to do, considering both guys are under contract next year. Both guys are all-stars when they're playing at their best. So they have some tough decisions in that front office to make, and Brad Hand certainly going to bring a haul back. I think he'll be able to bring you back some top prospects. But do you want to go that route, or are you better next season with Hand here in Cleveland? That's a question they're going to have to ask as we move forward.
Now, James, I'm not going to allow you just to gloss over what you just said there. Now, the Cleveland Indians are hosting the All-Star game this summer in July, and you're saying our only All-Star right now you think is going to be Brad Hand?
I think that's, I mean, especially if you look at the voting today.
Ouch.
Yeah, no, and I'm not disagreeing with
Lindor's 6th. Yeah, it's rough. And I think Lindor's obviously a no-brainer All-Star talent-wise since he missed a couple of weeks, and it took him a couple of weeks to really get to the level he is now. It set him back. So we'll see if he can catch up here. We'll see if track fans can vote for him and get him back in the mix. But, as of now, I think it's Brad Hand. And I don't really see another one, whether it's injury or just struggles. Who would have thought that at the beginning of the year? I mean, even the biggest Indians fans that were down on this team, I think we expected more than one All-Star.
So outside of Brad Hand, is there anybody else you could see being moved by the deadline if we do become sellers?
If they become sellers, I think Bauer is certainly someone they will field offers for, no doubt about that. It's tough because Kluber now, his value is obviously nil. We'll see what happens with him later this week. We're going to get an update on his broken forearm. But the two pieces, if they become sellers, I think are Bauer and then obviously Hand. And then the other thing is, let's say they run off a streak here and suddenly, I don't want to necessarily say become buyers, but are interested in adding guys that are under contract for next year as well as this year, and can help them win in the short term and long term. I think they could move some of these prospects that have suddenly come up and had some success. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. If you look at Jeffrey Rodriguez, even though he's injured right now, I think he's built up a little bit of value. Daniel Johnson in AAA, I think is thriving. Bobby Bradley as well. A lot of people talking about him.
There we go. The assassin.
So
when are we going to bring up
boy.
the assassin? I'm not going to let you go past him.
Well,
when are we bringing him up?
Honestly, it doesn't feel like any time soon. Otherwise, they would have, right? I mean, it's tough. I would now, and you would just have to make a decision with Leonis Martin, Jake Bowers, with some of those guys. And it's tough on the Indians because I think that when they moved Yandy Diaz for Jake Bowers, they were expecting him to bring some pop to the lineup, and he's just had his struggles, and they've moved him around the field from DH to outfield to first base, and that's the guy right now that's getting in the way. And if they do become sellers, here's another name I'll throw at you, Carlos Santana. If they become full-blown sellers, that's a guy. I know it hurts, right? Especially with the way he's playing. He could end up being an all-star for him. That's a guy that you could move and potentially get something for. Instead of paying him next year, you could have Bobby Bradley move up and take his spot in the order. So it's I'm not saying they would do that, but if they did become full-blown sellers, I wouldn't be shocked if they did.
Ouch. So we have acquired.
Speechless.
Yeah, the Santana thing. That's the guy that I think about when you think of who should be an all-star, and he's really the only one that came top of mind for me. I want to touch on some of our younger guys.
I agree. I
Go
think
ahead.
he should be an all-star with the way he's played. He's been their best player outside of Hand. But their best position player, their best bat, their most consistent bat, and he carried them the first month of the season. So no doubt, I think he's deserving of an all-star appearance.
Yeah, he's definitely been the most consistent. I want to touch on some of our younger guys like Oscar Mercado. They've been hitting well. He's been hitting well. Do you see any of the younger guys being key pieces long-term for the Indians?
It feels like Oscar Mercado is. I mean, he hasn't missed a beat since coming up here. He's got all the tools you look for. He's tall. He's athletic. He can run. And he glides when he runs. It's not like it almost looks effortless. And that's the type of athleticism that translates right away, and it has for him. And then at the plate, I mean, he pinch hitting. I talked to him the other day. He hit that pinch hit home run in his first major league pinch hit appearance. He's like, I love pinch hitting. And I think a lot of hitters don't like that because they're cold. They've been on the bench all night and they come in, but it's something he embraces. So he's got a great attitude, loves the culture in the Indians clubhouse. I think he's going to be certainly a long-term piece. And then another guy that I think continues to show that he's a major league player, and I don't know if he's necessarily going to be long-term here in Cleveland. We'll see. But he's certainly opening some eyes as Jordan Luplow because he's been great in the field. He showed some power. hitting around 250, but for the Indians, that's good so far this year. But yeah, I think he's been impressive as well. So I think those are the two guys that stand out. And the good thing is, Tribe fans, is that those are outfielders, and the Indians obviously need outfielders not only this year but long term. And I think those two guys could certainly be part of the long term solution.
When you look at the catching position, Roberto Perez talking about impressive. This last week, 4 home runs, 9 RBIs. Obviously, he's not going to keep up this pace, but I mean, do you think is this a fluke? Is this one of the reasons that the Tribes kept him around for so long as the starting catcher? What are your thoughts on Roberto Perez as just the primary catcher on a playoff team?
I totally think he can be. Absolutely.
All right, nice.
Bottom of the order, 7 through 9 type hitter, even though the power and the streak he's on right now. But that's what you can bring. You know, if he hits 240 and 20 home runs and has 70 RBI, you'll take that because he's a great defensive catcher. Trevor Bauer loves him. The pitchers love him. And I think he really does fit what the Indians try to do, which they try to have a great starting rotation. And even if they move Bauer, they move one of these guys in the offseason, that will still be their goal. We've seen a lot of their young arms. So I think Roberto Perez fits exactly what they want. And a lot of people called them dumb for trading Yan Gomes. And I understand it, but now you look at it, and that deal made a ton of sense because Perez, not only is he delivering at the plate, but he's been great behind the plate as well. So it's that was one of the good moves, I'd say, of the offseason for the Tribe.
Last one before you get you out of here. Carlos Carrasco, any update on his condition? Haven't seen a whole lot out there.
No, nothing really. And I think it's going to stay like that for a while. I think the Indians, they made it very clear that they don't want to infringe on his privacy while he deals with this. And I think it's probably shocking for him, shocking for his family to find something like this out. So until Carlos is really ready to come out and give detail, and I'm not even sure if he knows yet. I think it's very, very much an open thing, at least how it was conveyed to us last week, is that they don't really know what's going to happen next or when he's going to play. They do expect him back this year, but first they need to figure out the health, and doctors are evaluating him, and et cetera. So he's not with the team right now, at least last I checked. So it's a sad situation. You just hope that he's okay, that his family's okay, and that they get through it, and then worry about the baseball stuff. But yeah, we haven't heard much since that initial release and since that initial comment from Terry Francona, and I think it'll be that way until they have a lot of news or something that Carlos is comfortable with revealing.
Hey, James, one more question. Watching that game yesterday, what happened with Bieber? Is there any behind the scenes or what? He started off that game just on fire and then just blew up after that. Is that just a young guy going through the motions, or was there something wrong?
Yeah, it was insane. I mean, he looked like he was going to pitch 8 innings and hold the Yankees to 1 hit. 5 straight outs, starts rolling, and then you look up and it's 5-0, and AJ Cole's in the game.
It's a bullpen day all
of
a
those
sudden.
Things, yeah, right. It was bullpen versus bullpen, which is not what the Indians had planned on doing in that game 3 where they went for the sweep. No, I talked to him after the game, and he seemed to think that everything was fine. It was something he could learn from, in that he just lost it a little bit. And Terry Francona said the same thing, lost his command and left a few balls over the plate, and suddenly it's 5-0, and to prevent further damage, Terry Francona said, well, that's it. And I went back and I looked last year, and he had a start like that last year as well, where he went 1 2/3 innings, allowed 7 runs in that outing. So it's happened before. He rebounded nicely then. I expect the same. But he definitely said it's something he can learn from, because I think we forget with the way he carries himself that he is young. He just turned 24 like 10 days ago. So he's a young pitcher, certainly promising, certainly a big part of the Indians' future. And it's just one of those things where it wasn't his day, even though it appeared like he was about to have a career day. Unfortunately, it didn't stay that way for Shane.
James, in a city where it's tough to be a beat reporter, you're absolutely crushing it, my man. Keep up all the good work. Everyone, go follow him on Twitter at James Rapien. We appreciate the time greatly. Sorry for that little technology mix-up in the beginning. And we'll get you back to birthday night.
Sounds good. You think, real quick, here we'll throw this. Do you think there's any way after doing this I can find a way to take a peek at the finals. Is that acceptable or no?
Have at it, my man.
That's tricky.
There's the answer. There's the answer. Okay. Yeah. I'm just glad I have the answer.
On the phone, James. On the phone. Good stuff, my man. I'm going to the Tribe game tomorrow. I'll throw an ice cream sundae down to you.
All right. Sounds good. Thanks, guys. I appreciate you for having me.
Hi, brother. Thanks. Talk to you soon. That was James Rapien of 92.3 The Fan. Awesome stuff. My favorite beat reporter in Cleveland.
And I don't know. He didn't want to come out and say it. You could hear the frustration in his voice that we have not called up the assassin yet.
Clearly.
Oh, yeah,
not to
big
put words
time.
in his mouth, but he clearly was saying the Indians are missing the boat big time by not having it up here. Just going to say that out loud.
That's right. Put that out there, Chris.
Oh, Chris.
Oh, Chris is right. Let's get into some Cleveland headlines, shall we?
Bing.
The Cleveland Browns are one step closer to the regular season, thank goodness. After finishing up mini-camp this week, Big Play Browns reporter Nick Pedone has been busy covering some of the players on the team. Saturday, he interviewed our star defensive back, Denzel Ward. This weekend, he's going to be hanging out with Jarvis Landry at the charity softball game, chatting it up with him and other celebrities that go to that. Without further ado, let's bring in Big Play writer Nick Pedone. Nick, welcome back to the Big Play Cleveland Reflog show. How we doing?
Hey, good. How are you guys doing?
Hi, Nick.
Look at that. I brought him on with no issues. I'm
issues.
So proud of myself. Nick,
Good job. Good job.
thank you very much. It's been a night. Looking at you, so you were hanging out with Denzel Ward last weekend. How was the turnout at the camp?
Yeah, so it was pretty cool. You know, it held up at Denzel Ward's alma mater, Nordonia High School. It was a free youth camp. So grades 2 through 8 were going to register online. There was an online registration for it. It was a big turnout. There was 400 kids that ended up showing up, some around the lines of 425 registered, and that was a glitch in the registration website. I guess he wanted to cap it out at 200. There was a glitch in the website. 400 plus kids showed up. Denzel and his mom had a choice to make. His mom, Nicole, who is, very instrumental in his life, and they had a choice to make. You're like, hey, do you want to call 200 kids and tell them that you can't come? Obviously, the Wards are a great family. Denzel Ward is a great kid. They welcomed all 400, 20-plus kids to Nordonia High School, to this youth camp. They got custom Nike shirts made, on back order. They pushed them out of Nike. Every kid got a shirt. Every kid had, a picture taken with them, an autograph, whatever they wanted. It was a good night.
Wow, that's amazing. How cool
guy.
is that? Yeah.
If he needs a website host contact, let him know. We could hook him up with some non-glitchy stuff there.
Yeah,
That's a big
I really don't
glitch.
think that they were planning on it.
No, wow, that's crazy. So Denzel Ward's Foundation, what exactly is it for?
Yeah, so it's called the Make Them Know Your Name Foundation. And for those who don't know, there was a Sports Illustrated article out about it a couple months ago. And Denzel goes into the story about how his father, his name is Paul Ward, he was instrumental in Bedford City Schools. Paul Ward is a very respected name in Bedford, in the city of Bedford. And he always used to just tell Denzel and his brother, make them know your name on the football field, off the football field, and the way that they carried themselves. Well, his father tragically passed away in a spin class and went into cardiac arrest and passed away at very, very, very young. And Denzel and his mom and his brother and all the Ward family came together and created the Make Them Know Your Name Heart Health Foundation, which is what sponsored this camp. And it's kind of a foundation that's growing legs. They want to create awareness for people to, prevent heart health. There was a defibrillator in the spin class when his father passed away, and nobody used it. So that's kind of what Denzel has set out to do. and wants to use his platform in the NFL to do, is to make people aware that these things do happen and there is ways to prevent them when they do happen so that it doesn't happen again.
Wow, that's powerful stuff, definitely. So what you were hanging out with Denzel. What's he like? Is he ready for the season? Is he an outgoing guy when you're talking to him? Let the Browns fans know kind of what he's like off the field.
Yeah, for sure. So actually, it's kind of funny because Denzel Ward and I both went to Nordonia High School. He's a 2015 graduate. I'm a 2017 graduate. So,
oh my gosh,
two Nordonia alumni got to check back up last, over the weekend. I didn't know him personally at Nordonia. It's a big school. I did graduate with some of his, relatives that were my age, but it was kind of funny, just chatting with him about being at the high school. And as far as the Browns go, he's a guy that's really excited to have Odell Beckham Jr. in the building. And he continues to give the quote, he did throughout the last few days of minicamp and again at his camp, that working on the opposite side of OBJ, he says iron sharpens iron. OBJ is so fast. Denzel's probably even a little bit quicker. That iron is going to sharpen iron. And Denzel's young. It's only his second year in the league next year. OBJ is a guy that's been there. He's been in the playoffs, that one time. I think Odell Beckham Jr. is really going to help Denzel Ward, and I think Denzel Ward is willing to accept that almost mentorship from a guy that's on the complete other side of the football.
I know you probably didn't get too deep in the weeds with him there at a charity event, but any thoughts on what his reaction is to all the upgrades we've made on the defensive side of the ball with Greedy Williams, the guys up front, really some nice upgrades. What do you think he's thinking as far as that goes?
Well, it's kind of funny that you asked that. Outside of the kids asking him about Fortnite, they were asking him about Greedy Williams. And they were asking him who's the hardest wide receiver in the league to guard. So he answered a bunch of kids about Greedy Williams and just said, Greedy's my guy. And we go, next to each other in practice every day. And from what I saw, at minicamp and what other people are reporting from minicamp is that Greedy Williams did get work in with the ones. And, the Browns are almost prepared to have Greedy Williams be a starter if the role pops open. Terrence Mitchell is another guy that's going to be open, but Denzel Ward is just a lighthearted guy. It seems like he is absolutely ecstatic to remain in his hometown of Cleveland, Ohio. And it was awesome to see him, give back to the youth at a charity event. He said it was something that he always dreamed of. And it was evident because he was just full of joy, full of energy working with all those kids.
One last question about Denzel, and this is mostly an observation. Does it look like he put on some weight this year? Does he look a little bit bigger?
Yeah, he definitely looks a little bit bigger, and even back to his Nordonia, his Nordonia Knights days, and then early into his Ohio State Buckeyes career, he was a skinny kid. And at Nordonia, he was a receiver. He returned kicks for the Knights back in the day, so he was a guy that was more of like a burner on offense. Like, we rarely even got to see him on defense because other teams in high school just knew not to throw his way. Kind of the same thing at Ohio State. We barely saw other teams throw the ball towards Denzel, but it definitely looks like he bulked up. And Nordonia's offensive coordinator, Scott Barwoody, they're running a little tackle drill where the kids kind of get to run into the pads and, teach them how to wrap up and tackle. Nordonia's coach is like, hey, don't be like him, man. Wrap him up and bring that tackling dummy down. It was kind of a funny moment, and Denzel laughed, and they both kind of pushed at each other. But it's nice to see that they all remain so close and that the hometown ties are definitely there.
That's awesome. So this weekend you're going to Jarvis Landry's charity softball game, right?
Yep.
Excellent. So where is that? When is it? And who do you kind of expect to be there from a celebrity perspective for athletes, Browns players, whatnot?
Yeah, so the celebrity softball game is Saturday. I believe it is at the Lake County Captains Park.
Oh, nice.
It's kind of an all-day. Yeah, it's kind of an all-day thing. It looks like they have a home run derby, and then it's going to be followed by the game. Obviously, Jarvis is bringing out all of his friends from the Browns, right? We're going to have Myles Garrett there. I saw Antonio Callaway is going to be there. Kareem Hunt is going to be there. That one kind of caught me a little bit by surprise that he's, coming out into the public yet like that so soon. But hey, it's a charity. It's another charity softball event, and it's probably best for Kareem Hunt to be there and surrounded by these athletes. Bernie Kosar is going to be there. I mean, there's a
there you go, Bree.
They said that they're still.
Woo!
Yeah.
Maybe I should show up.
And Bree will be there too. Nick, just for your benefit,
still,
Bernie and Bree. Bree has a very big crush on Bernie.
Since I was 2.
Oh, okay.
Very big.
That's a star-studded list.
I mean, yeah, for sure. And there's plenty more. There's people that he played with in Miami Dolphins. I know Corey Clement is going to be there from Philly. It's a star-studded list, mostly football players. But Jordan Clarkson from the Cavs, it's always Jordan Clarkson time, so we'll have to see if his basketball approach and his softball approach are similar at all.
I'm predicting some wild swings out of that.
Oh, yeah, or on defense, he's going to try to be all over the field. Every ball is going to be hit.
Right. How far can Myles Garrett hit a softball?
Hey, that's what we're going to find out. I'm interested to see. They haven't come out and said yet who is going to be in the home run derby, but I'm excited to see, some of these guys are larger than life, and, for them to stand behind a baseball bat and to crush a softball is probably going to be pretty fun to watch.
That's fantastic. Take some videos. We'll play them on the show next week.
All right, cool. Yeah, I'd love to come on and talk to you guys again. I'm sure it'll be another really good event, and it's nice to see all these Browns players. We've had it so miserable in the past that the players, we don't even know of. They can't even have youth camps. They can't even have softball games. Joe Hayden did it a few years. He'll be there Saturday as well. That's another name that I forgot.
Oh, wow.
So it's going to be exciting. It's nice to see that all these Browns players are giving back to the community and, being involved in the community, even though this is their quote-unquote summer break. So I'm excited to go down there and check it out, and I'm sure it'll be a fun night. But I look forward to talking to you guys next week.
That sounds great.
Thanks, Nick.
Go follow Nick on Twitter at Nick Pedone 12. Nick, great insight. We appreciate it, my man.
Yep, absolutely. Have a good night, guys.
All right, Nick Pedone. Fantastic stuff. I feel like Myles Garrett could hit a softball 600 yards. Not even feet.
I feel like he would be not good. I don't know. Sometimes I feel like some of those.
Wow. That's going to be a
Bree
clip.
throwing some shade out of left field there.
Alec, make sure to grab that promo clip.
Yeah. Hot take, Bree.
You've seen some of these athletes throw a first pitch out. That's all I'm saying.
That is true. Chris, who
can't hit a curveball.
Chris, who was the was it a Panthers player you were ripping on for throwing out the first pitch?
Oh yeah,
who was that?
I can't remember who it was.
No, it was a Ravens player.
Yeah.
Their safety, the Ravens safety.
Yeah, and I forget. Yeah, I always forget my trolls after they go out. But yeah, I did, and he kind of liked it. I was giving it back to him. We were going back and forth on it a little bit, and called him out there.
That's right.
At first, it's got to be a tricky thing, though. Have you guys ever done that?
Done what?
First pitch?
No. I'm waiting for them to ask me.
I mean,
have you?
It's just a matter of time with the trajectory of this show for all three of us to throw out a pitch. So we better start practicing in the backyard now.
That's right. We sure will. Maybe at a Lake County Captains game.
Yeah, I love it.
That would be phenomenal. All right, let's keep it going with some more Cleveland headlines. Bree, you asked me not to do it, but we're doing it. We're talking a little bit of Cavaliers real quickly. The NBA draft is 10 days away.
Twist the knife, Dave.
Come on. This young Cavalier team is going to add an important piece to the roster June 20th. We had a lot of losses last year. It wasn't very fun. We lost on the Zion sweepstakes. We moved down to 5th overall. Still should get a pretty good player. So you look at some of the players out there. We've got Jarrett Culver, sophomore wing from Texas Tech. DeAndre Hunter, sophomore forward from Virginia. You've got Cam Reddish, kind of the third fiddle there at Duke, freshman wing player. Kobe White, freshman point guard from North Carolina. So you got a lot of choices there at 5. Someone obviously is going to fall to us there. So which of those guys would you want to partner up with Sexton, Nance, Chetty, and the Cavs next year? Which kind of player, like position-wise, would you want to put on that team?
I could care less.
Really?
I could care less. I really, right now, all I'm thinking about is the Browns. Come on, the draft.
Wow.
Last year.
It's 10 days
I think
away.
I was on vacation when we had the draft. And it's like, we draft this guy Sexton. Okay, he's young bull. All right, whatever. We still got LeBron, and then LeBron's gone. But it's like, I don't know. To me, the NBA draft is okay.
I like
never
the NBA
get all
draft.
that excited about it since, you had a couple with LeBron, obviously, and a couple other guys. But right now, I don't know. I'm just so pumped for Brown season. We're in the middle of Indian season. It's just tough for me to get too psyched up about the Cavs and their draft.
Bree?
Yeah, the only name
comment?
that ever stuck out to me was Cam Reddish, and only because he played for Duke.
You love the Dukies, don't you?
He might
The
fall.
Dukies. Well, yeah, I wanted Zion, but I guess I'll settle for Cam.
Yeah, I hear you. All right, let's move on. That's enough. Let's go back to baseball real quick. So the Tribe has obviously been killing it. Twins, Yankees, they're taking everyone out. They're winning those series. They've scored 37 runs in those 6 games. Kind of a breath of fresh air for us here. We got a 2-game series coming up versus the Reds tomorrow. We've got Plesac and Bauer scheduled to pitch.
Yeah.
The Battle of Ohio, does it mean anything anymore? Is this kind of just another series? Chris, I mean, you got some Reds fans down there where you are.
Well, yeah, we're on the dividing line here.
Right.
Just right in between Cincinnati and Cleveland, obviously, and Columbus. But, it's lost a lot of its luster over the years. I don't think it quite has the same juice that it used to. And I hate that they make them 2-game series. Like, what is that? You're just setting it up for a tie. You're setting it up for a kissing your sister. One of those. No one's going to be happy. It's going to be 1-1. Who cares in the middle of the week? So it just doesn't have the centerpiece feel it has in the past, which kind of sucks because this should be a big deal. Especially you're looking for games that matter at this point in the season. And I would love for this to matter more. It'd be interesting to see if Bauer can come out and do something. I would love to see that. But it just doesn't have the same kind of juice it used to for me.
That's fair enough. All right, so let's that's enough negativity about the Indians. We've had some good.
I'm just going negative. Right, every one of these headlines. I'm just going to totally just trash.
Don't care. Don't care.
Hated this one. Next.
We're going to say it's time for the new segment. It's time to say something nice about our Indians. You guys, I believe, have failed 2 weeks in a row talking about the Clippers, the Browns, whatnot. They've looked pretty good lately, okay? Yeah. So, Bree, try to say something nice about the Indians.
Guys, I have breaking news.
Oh, God.
Kevin Durant left the game injured, just FYI. And I heard
no.
the Raptors fans were cheering, which I don't think is the best look, but
it's not good.
Anyway, sorry, I just kidding.
You can't take enjoyment in a man getting injured. You just can't do that, Bree. I'm just smiling over here.
I was going to say, you're probably sitting over there just
unrelated.
The Grinch right now, the Grinch gif.
Unrelated, I'm smiling.
Unrelated.
Who would have seen that coming? I mean, come on.
Very interesting.
Practiced.
What happened to him?
They were saying that he just went down and was kind of grabbing people were saying his Achilles area, which I guess could be directly correlated to your calf. And then they just carted him back to the locker room. So it's probably not good, but
snakes don't have calves.
Yeah. You hate to see that happen, especially he's a free agent, huge impact, but
it's not official yet until about 50 people start sending me participant ribbons and asking me to reach. I haven't seen that yet. So
haven't seen it come yet?
Not official.
All right, well, let me know. All right, so I apologize. So I have to say something nice about the Indians. That's what we're on right now?
You're ducking it, Bree. You're ducking it.
Well, I will say that we won a couple of games this weekend.
Oh, come on. You can be positive. You're supposed to be positive. Social media influencer Bree. Let's go.
The Indians really burned you, didn't they?
That's all I got.
Wow.
No, listen, they get your hopes up with a couple of really good wins, really solid wins, and then right back down.
Chris, say something nice. You got it.
We almost swept the Yankees. The last time
we
swept the Yankees at home was 1981. The only active player on the Cleveland Indians team who was alive at that point was Oliver Perez, who pitched in that game. And I thought that everything was going to align for us to win. But nonetheless, we did beat those hated Yankees 2 out of 3 times. Things are looking up. This is a lot more positive than what we have been in the past with our Indians on this show. So I'm feeling a lot better than what I was this time last week.
There we go. Enough Cavs, enough Indians. Moving on to our final headline. Friend of the show, Antonio Nieves, defeated his opponent by TKO here in Cleveland, Ohio, Saturday night.
Show karma, baby. That was all him coming on here.
That's right. He stopped Jose Rodriguez in the second round of the main event at MGM Roxino in Northfield Park. Ton of vicious body blows before dropping his opponent with a liver shot. I think, Chris, I'm going back to it, man. I think we had a big part in that victory. He was on the show 5 days before it happened. I don't want to take all the credit. He's a fantastic fighter, but I don't know, man. Now that we're good luck charms, anyone else you want to see have on the show to kind of, help him out a little bit?
I think all the PR front office members of the Cleveland Indians, the Cleveland Browns, and the Cleveland Cavaliers should really take notice of this development. That's all I'll say.
Freddie Kitchens?
Yeah.
Right.
Got to have him on.
Right.
Baker
Why
Mayfield?
not?
I mean,
Baker,
come on.
Odell?
Right.
Why not? Chris, you got to go to one of these boxing events with us. It's a super fun time.
I know. Oh, I was telling you, that's a bucket lister for me. I want to go. I've never been to a boxing event. I've never been to a big match. Have you been to one of these fights, Bree?
I've never been to a fight that's that big of nature. I've been to smaller ones. I used to do boxing, like a boxing workout, and a lot of the instructors used to fight, so I would sometimes go watch them down in Columbus.
Kidding. Wow. Oh, that's awesome.
I'm not a big fan, though, of seeing people get punched and knocked out, though. I've got to say. I don't really like it.
Well, Antonio's very nice. He was doing all body shots, so there was no blood.
Nice.
It was very tasteful, his KO.
Well, I don't know if I like any body parts getting punched.
All right, fair enough. So, yeah, huge congrats to Antonio. Good work by Nick Greenwood, our beat reporter and associate producer for boxing. He was sitting right there. He was sitting right next to the actual belts. He's like, hey, should I take one? I was like, no, probably not.
That's really cool.
Yeah, it was very cool. Shout out to Brian Sabayo and Charles Conwell, both locally managed by my buddy here in Cleveland, Timmy Van. Two boxers, both won in convincing fashion in New York City over the weekend. So a lot of good boxing news here in Cleveland, Ohio.
There we go.
That's right. All right, let's finish it off with some Would You Rather. I will start with you. We went through the whole Kyrie not wanting to play in LeBron's shadow, overplayed. Duke Johnson, unhappy with the Browns now that Kareem Hunt's here, Nick Chubb's here. So, Chris, would you rather play second fiddle on a playoff caliber team or go be a key piece on a crappy team?
I would play second fiddle on a playoff caliber team every single time. You got to know your role. and you want to see success. I view success not as an individual, but as a team. So that would be big for me, is to have the team be successful much more so than me stuck out on a team that's not making it year after year.
All right, Duke
How about
Johnson.
you, Dave? What would you say? You want to be the big fish in a small pond? Is that what you are? You're just all about me?
It'd probably come down to money.
It comes down to money.
It'd probably come down to
There's
money.
the ultimate honest answer right there.
I don't know, but if you think about it, if you're like in your lower 20s and you look at a running back's career, like I like Duke Johnson a lot. Like the lifespan for a running back is what, like 2.8 years in the league. He's obviously.
Think how much longer it is if he doesn't play much this year. He doesn't get many carries.
I know. I mean,
there's less tread taken off that tire, and you still get the good. Then you still get the goodwill of other teams looking at you, going, "Well, he just couldn't play because Kareem Hunt was there. He's still good, so you'll still get that paycheck." I don't know.
That's actually a really good point, and he's kind of at the age where, I mean, you look at like Le'Veon Bell, how much he had to fight for money at his age. Duke Johnson's not going to get a big payday, so he might as well stick around. Around.
All right, Bree, I got one for you. NFL.com released an article where they picked the all-time franchise quarterback for each team. For our Cleveland Browns, you know who? Bernie Kosar edged out Brian Sipe. Baker obviously hadn't had a long enough track record to be considered in that rare era yet. So the question is, would you rather have Bernie Kosar in his prime, Bree, or Baker Mayfield as your Browns quarterback right now? I knew this would be particularly tough for you, Bree, knowing your affinity for one Bernie Kosar. Which one's it going to be?
So I have a question. Do I get Bernie Kosar in his prime with the current roster? Or am I going way back in time with his roster?
This goes back to my Tim Couch question for who was Pat McManaman.
The infamous Tim Couch question. No, Bernie Kosar with this team in his prime.
Oh my gosh. Guys.
Making it tough. Either way,
the hard ones.
Twitter's going to destroy you for this, no matter which way you go. So go for it, Bree.
I feel like I am cheating on Bernie Kosar, but I'm going to go with Baker.
Wow. You hear that,
sorry, Bernie? I'm sorry.
The one show he tunes into. He's like, oh, I hear that Bree girl really likes me.
And I'm never coming on.
Just stop on him.
Oh, my gosh. Can't win them all. What would you guys say?
Oh, I'd go Baker.
Okay.
I'm with you.
Bernie. I'm
Bernie.
a loyal guy.
Bernie.
Go Bernie Kosar all day long. Baker has not proven himself yet. Bernie did.
Yeah, I'm living in the now.
Ooh.
All right, Dave, I got this one for you. We've already talked about the Tribe.
Yes, we
being
have.
10.5 games back from first place, and the deadline is quickly approaching for trades. Would you rather they become sellers to restock talent for the near future, or would you like them to trade assets and upgrade this current roster and make a run for it?
So I was looking at the actual roster, and I don't think it's that bad, especially over the past couple of weeks. It really isn't. If you get these pitchers back, obviously, you never want to be a seller. Go get another bat. We have enough pitching. I think most of those guys are going to be back at some point. They could easily go to the playoffs as a wild card and make a run. This is going to be like when the New York Giants were like 8-8 and won the Super Bowl. There's still a chance. All you got to do is get in. It's baseball. So, yeah, I'm not going to say the Dolans, go ahead and sell and build prospects through the farm systems. No, absolutely not. Oh, that's all the would you rathers we had. There was another one from Big Play Lauren. She put out an article, and she said, this isn't exactly a would you rather, but it was an interesting question. If you had one of your kids drafted to the Steelers,
ooh,
who would you root for?
What position? What position would my kid be playing for the Steelers? That's the first question I would have.
Quarterback.
Oh, well, then you gotta root for your kid at quarterback. See, I was hoping you'd say a backup right tackle.
Forget it.
Yeah, backup right tackle or something where you can kind of get away.
Right.
Oh, well, the team played like crap, but he came in for a couple of plays, really did well. So too bad they lost by 3 touchdowns. But
didn't the
if they're
Steelers
quarterbacks, have that.
Wasn't this a story of the Steelers? Someone that they drafted this year, the dad is a huge Browns fan, and I guess his entire bathroom, for whatever reason, he decorated his bathroom in Browns, in a Browns theme, so he had to change it to Steelers theme. So I think that just happened.
Interesting. So he had to erase all of the Browns fandom.
Correct.
Wow.
So he didn't go neutral? He's going to have a tough time.
So if you had a man cave, either of you, or a girl cave, Bree.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And it was all Browns gear, and your kid got drafted by the Steelers, would you change it to black and yellow?
No.
Thank
They're not even guaranteed to stay on that team.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We just went through the lifeline, how long these guys stay in the league. I mean,
Right.
2.5 years? Come on. You're not changing the paint color for that.
I'm with you. Let's get some bold predictions in here.
Cue music.
I don't think we ever came up with any music.
Okay, do you need medical attention?
Yes.
What is wrong?
I don't know. I ain't no goddamn doctor.
I'm crushing. Oh, and Bree's not even next to me in this shot. I'm crushing it tonight on producing the show.
You
here.
are.
Just absolutely crushing it. All right, bold predictions. Let's bring on our guy, Alec, to let us know. Let us know how we did last week. Alec, welcome to the show. How are you doing?
What's up, guys? I'm doing well.
Hello.
Dave, last week you predicted that our main man, Antonio Nieves, would win by unanimous decision Saturday night against Jose Rodriguez. He won, but unfortunately you are incorrect because it was a TKO.
Come on, man. I didn't want to jinx him and say he was going to knock him out. I obviously thought he was going to knock him out.
Rules is rules.
All right, fair enough. How'd Chris do? Make me feel better.
Dave,
Get up, Dave.
that you're having problems with with producing tonight, so I wouldn't feel too bad, especially after Chris's record. You predicted that the assassin, Bobby Bradley, would get called up before this show. Although the Indians had a fun weekend stint, they did not call him up. So you're wrong again. You are 1-9.
Not
Ouch.
bad. Hey, I'd be a cleanup hitter in the Indians lineup.
How'd Bree do?
You were wrong, but in a good way. You said
Thank
that
you.
the Toronto Raptors would head back to Toronto 2-2. They are currently up 3-1.
That
and
is
Game
correct.
5 is on right now, and the Warriors are up 52-43.
Ooh.
Oh, yeah, I know. Makes interesting for my bold prediction.
Is Kevin Durant back yet?
Nope.
Interesting.
Nope, he's not.
Wow.
So I'm just going to go ahead with my prediction since the game is almost halfway over.
Yeah,
I
get it
was
going.
taking the Raptors to win it all this evening. However, they are trailing by 11 points without a Kevin Durant at home. So we will see how this plays out, but I'm sticking to it.
Big party tonight in Lebronto.
Yeah, no kidding. I will go with my prediction. I say the Warriors are going to come back from 3-1.
Woo! Dave.
Yeah, I really do think they're going to do that. Won't do anything to our 3-1 jokes. I mean, beating Toronto Raptors is not going to make those jokes go away anytime soon.
And my prediction, you can go to Vegas on this. Dustin Johnson is going to win the U.S. Open this week.
Oh, boy.
But will he cheat?
Probably. No, that was Matt Kuchar.
I know, but it was your prediction.
That is correct.
Dustin
He was supposed
Johnson's
to win the
going to
Memorial. He did not even make the cut. But let's forget about that. Let's turn the page, Dave. Now we're talking Dustin Johnson. He is going to win the U.S. Open.
There we go.
Hey, Dave.
What's up?
Happy early Father's Day to you, my friend.
Aw.
Oh, yes. Happy Father's Day, gentlemen.
I literally had no idea it was even coming up. I've got 4 kids running around. I don't know what's going on.
FYI.
But hey,
Father's
back
Day is
to you.
coming up this Sunday.
Nice.
Thank-
You guys do anything fun for it?
Watching Dustin Johnson win the U.S. Open, obviously.
Perfect. All right, good stuff. Thanks to all of our guests, James Rapien, Nick Pedone, Chris and Bree. Good work. See ya.
Go Raptors.
Great.
Okay, do you need medical attention?
Yes.
What is wrong?
I don't know. I ain't no goddamn